The Junius Maltby channel. Thanks for joining me for this second video of the weekend of this Sunday. Glad you could be here. It falls in line with some of the things we've been discussing lately. We've already brought up and talked about the Royal Mint having a difficult time filling orders. We covered that just recently, if you recall. I actually gave the Royal Mint a lot of credit. I felt like they hadn't done a whole lot wrong. I think it was a lot of customers that were disgruntled, but there was a problem sourcing some metals from the Royal Mint, and the 2021 coins that they do produce, they were unable to fill orders. They were canceling orders. We've been hearing that time and time again. It's getting to be more frequent, the information coming out of just the complications with the Royal Mint. Recently, I also heard a lot of stories about the United States Mint. Here's a 2021 Silver Eagle. Again, complications with filling orders, spontaneous canceled orders. A lot of times people are getting notifications in their inbox or with their account that their order can no longer be filled because the item is no longer in stock. So many of it just depends. I've heard different things from different places. You're seeing articles online, blog posts, forum posts. I've got some articles pulled up here off to the side. I've got the computer opened, the laptop, and because the news just keeps coming in, different stories, I haven't heard anything out of South Africa yet. If you hear something, let me know, but I haven't heard anything with South Africa. Now, it sounds like, again, the Royal Mint's had some problems sourcing metal, producing metal. Maybe there's other excuses. Maybe it's that ship turned sideways in the Suez Canal. Maybe it's full of silver. I don't know. But the U.S. Mint also having some problems. Now the Perth Mint, they have now made the news recently. There's some stuff circulating online about difficulty in obtaining silver with the Perth Mint. Apparently, we talked about it just recently, if you recall. Something like $401 million short in silver being unallocated to allocated, people requesting delivery of their physical silver from the Perth Mint, and they unable to fulfill those physical orders, possibly that they're out. So they've got some Perth silver here examples as well. And again, some of my favorite coinage. I was recently on my silver binge. I was hunting and hawking over some auctions, and they're not spectacular. They're not MS70s, but I was able to pick up in my seeking things just a little bit of additions to silver for the examples here. I've always wanted these. I didn't have any. I've never had any Libertads, and I finally picked some up for not too bad actually. When you look at what things were going for, I had to sit there and watch about 1,000 auctions before I was able to get a good opportunity at buying some Libertads for video examples, of course, in my own personal desire to have the Libertads because they're such beautiful coinage. Now, I've got a 2020 here, and then, of course, one of the older Libertads. These were first issued in 1982. And if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong, these were some of the first government bullion coins ever produced out of 3/9 silver. Would be these this is the original Libertad design here. This is a 1986 Libertad. Again, this would have co-circulated with my first coin that I got as a kid, which was a 1987 Eagle. A little off topic, off subject here, but just wanted to share with you the different makes here, the different coins from different mints we're going to talk about. Of course, the Mexican mint is one of my favorite. It's a phenomenal mint. I just showed you some coins earlier, and you can see the edge lettering there. Big fan of that. Independencia y Libertad. Liberty and Independence. 1 onza plata pura, pure silver, 1986. Mexico, 999. I love Mexican silver. For some reason, it just seems better. I don't know why. And then, of course, here's a newer one real quick. You guys want to see some beautiful silver? Here is a clean Not perfect, of course, the 69. I can't grab a 70. They're just too much. But beautiful coin. It's got all the different reverses there, and eagles and the snake symbols. Just beautiful. Really cool, exquisite design. All right, so let's get to an article here that I wanted to share with you. You've got different ones pulled up, but you can consider the silver you're looking at as we discuss this very issue that we're talking about. Now, this one here, it was on GATA. It circulated several places. I first saw it on the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, but prior to that, many of you brought this up on the channel. I heard this from several of you. Now, we broke the news earlier in the week, or we talked about it. It was already out there about the Royal Mint. I know we've had some discussions about the U.S. Mint, some of their difficulties. And then, of course, we touched on the Perth Mint with the article that I recently did. You can go find it on unallocated to allocated and what's happening, how the silver squeeze is, in my opinion, creating some pressure that is causing some of this, as well as other factors. I do believe that the silver squeeze is working, and that people who criticize it, who are critical of it, and just speak disparagingly about it or with doubt, I think they feel left out, perhaps, or certain individuals out there, even skeptics, critics of the silver squeeze idea, especially the ones that think that we're hurting ourselves by buying silver because of the premiums. You know, the premium crowd, cue the NPC and the people talking about premiums and things. I don't think they see the big picture. And it's funny how they can speak out of one side of their mouth and say, we have no impact, no effect. We're not going to do anything or affect the silver supply or the silver market. And then out of the other side of their mouth, say that it is we who are causing the premiums to go up. Like we're having such a big impact and an influence on the silver market that we're driving supply down and thus driving these premiums up on coinage. So either we're not having an effect or we are. You can't have it both ways. Stop riding the fence. Pick something and stick with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me that we, the silver stacking community, those part of the silver squeeze, are impacting premiums, but at the same time having zero effect, zero impact on the silver market. All right. So again, it's kind of a ridiculous notion. The latest news, many of you brought this up in the chat recently. I'd be doing a video and I just kept seeing stuff about Libertads and the Mexican Mint suspending silver production. I kept doing searches. I was looking for things. I wasn't seeing a whole lot of information. It's difficult for me sometimes as the channel, content creator, the YouTube guy here, the most boring channel on YouTube, broadcasting from a squeaky stool in my bunker. It's hard to kind of filter through all the information sometimes, because you'll hear things and then you'll look for information to kind of back it up and it's just not there. So I got to wait to do the story on it. And I'm starting to see enough now regarding the Mexican Mint situation that I feel comfortable at least sharing the story with you guys. So let's go ahead and bring it up. Let's talk about the Mexican Mint and what's going on there. All right. So I've got the GATA article pulled up, which linked me to another article. And I'll just read this part here. Dear friend and GATA and gold, Hugo Salinas Price, president of the Mexican Civic Association for Silver, whose family operates Banco Azteca, reports that the Mexican Central Bank, the Banco de Mexico, has suspended production of the famous Mexican silver Libertad coin, attributing the decision to difficulties caused by the coronavirus epidemic. They don't really elaborate. I don't hear anything yet about if it's due to supply of silver or the inability to get workers in the mines, or if all of the supply chain when it comes to creating blankets, creating coin, creating Dior bars. I know the cartel has been stealing a lot of mine-produced bars. If you've seen that in the news, there's been some large shipments of precious metals that have disappeared by the Mexican drug cartels. They literally, last time I saw an article on this, it's like they were using RPGs and machine guns to assault a column of trucks hauling Dior bars from a mine in Mexico. And they stole the precious metals out of them. Here we go. Banco Azteca long has purchased the Libertad coins from the central bank and sold them to the public, with monthly sales lately reaching 50,000. Now, Salinas Price says the only Libertads Banco Azteca can obtain are those its customers are willing to sell. So here you have this large Banco Azteca that's been purchasing Libertad coins for years, and now they can only buy them from customers because they cannot get them from the Mexican Mint. Now, Salinas Price says that the only Libertads Banco Azteca can obtain are those customers willing to sell. Of course, in recent months, the U.S. Mint has also reduced or suspended production of U.S. gold and silver coins, again blaming the pandemic. I think there's something else going on. Pretty easy to blame a pandemic, doesn't it sound like that? It's easy to blame a microbiological organism for systemic breakdowns and economic failures. Pretty easy. Nice little escape route. People familiar with gold and silver price suppression policies of governments and central banks, and with the tight conditions in the gold and silver markets, suspect that the epidemic is being used as an excuse. This isn't me talking, this is me reading the article. Is being used as an excuse for decisions by the mints not to enter the market for monetary metals when demand is high and supplies are tight. And increased production of gold and silver coins might drive prices higher and encourage more demand. GATA has asked the Banco de Mexico for comment. So it looks like there is definitely a supply squeeze taking place with the Banco de Mexico and the supply of Libertads, unable to find apparently the supply of silver for them. There's got to be another reason, however. I don't think it's all the pandemic thing's run its course. I mean, most places that I've seen are opening up. We're seeing it's just hysteria, hype at this point when it comes to even the lethality of it. So I think they're running thin when it comes to their ability to make the excuses for how they're producing silver, their ability to produce silver, fulfill orders, sales. It's difficult for me to take what the U.S. Mint, the Mexican Mint, the Royal Mint, or the Perth Mint are stating as serious. It just seems like it's too broad at this point. That it's hitting all of them at the same time amidst the backdrop of the economic failures and breakdowns with the world economy, with local economies, national economies, fiat currencies. We're seeing a tremendous amount of fiat having issues and also breakdown. So the timing of this just seems a little bit too convenient, in my opinion. Now on to the Perth Mint. I was just seeing something on that I wanted to share with you. From another article, they were talking about how the Perth Mint, we were discussing this just recently, and this is going to touch on it again, had run out of silver. And we went into the unallocated, the allocated, the Perth Mint silver flowing out, something like a $401 million problem, essentially, of silver owed. And of course, it looks like when you go online and you look at the Perth Mint's website, there's a red banner due to high demand, and then it shows you all the out-of-stock products. And it's literally all of these coins. I mean, you're looking at this Year of the Ox coin, looks like out of stock, gone. The kooks, the koalas, the kangaroos, all of those coins are essentially sold out across the board on the Perth Mint's website, as well as kilo bars. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and there's no silver. This is, as of March 16th, there was no silver in stock at the Perth Mint due to high demand. It says we currently have an online purchase limit of 250 coins per customer. If you find that you cannot finalize an order via the website for this product, please call our customer service team, and they give you a number. However, every coin that's on there, the koalas, all out of stock. The kangaroos, out of stock. The kookaburras, the red-tailed hawk, out of stock. Yeah, the year of the ox coin, out of stock. The kilogram silver bar, out of stock. Again, this is all looking at the Perth Mint live. Again, the red tail hawk coin, out of stock. This is, of course, I'm looking at, this is a 2020 version. On the website, it shows the 2021 version of that. Again, Australian silver, gone. So there's no supply, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what you would think in the normal state of events, in a normal world, what would happen to the price of a limited availability commodity like silver? Okay, this is Econ 101. Rolf, you're in the chat, man, and you're a smart guy. You're one of the smartest. You've taught me a thing or two. So I would like to ask, I'll pose this question to Rolf and the others, even Bill Spencer, another brilliant channel member. When there's no supply left, when there is no supply left of a very limited supply and availability commodity, especially an important one, a liquidity anchor, something that's even monetary in a way, like silver, when the supply is vanishing or gone or non-existent, what is it that should happen to the price? I'm just curious how basic economics works with this. Because it's my understanding and my basic understanding of economics and Economics 101 that if the supply deteriorates or the supply is restricted or tight or not available, but there's still significant demand, growing demand, insatiable demand, and consumption at a rate that we've never seen in history in present times, you would see price movement in the upward direction. It would only make sense that that would happen. And again, it's amazing that it's hitting. Look at this, and that's why I brought all of these out here. I think we're all we are visual learners. So here we're looking at the Mexican Mint. All right, their supply is gone. You can't get them anymore. All right, Perth Mint, gone, difficult to obtain. The United States Mint, difficult to obtain. Gone, sometimes canceling orders. The Royal Mint, heard a lot about that, problems. The only thing I haven't heard about is the South African Mint. I have not heard anything about the South African Mint or the supply of Krugerrands. I have seen some available. You can still find tubes of them, it seems like. Anyways, I have not read anything otherwise. So if you guys find any information on the South African Mint, let me know. Thank you to the super chat donation from Jack C. I appreciate it. You said Mexico was and is the #1 producer of silver according to the almighty and true Google. Have they run out of silver? That's a very good question. It would shake the world and shake the markets if they did. That's for sure. It would be unprecedented. Now I'm guessing there's some problems in the South African mints. However, maybe not as many as some. We'll see. But as you can see, if we took this one away, if there's no supply, but there's significant, the demand hasn't changed. The demand hasn't changed. This void has to be filled. And the only thing that's going to change that is the price. Price will go up. Now again, at some point the Mexican Mint might come back online. Maybe we'll see. We'll give it time. Perhaps there is things that need to take place. The country will come back online. The panic will go away. Everyone will be get their monkey pus and their genetic modifying vaccines and all those bizarre injections. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what goes on with that type of panic. But again, we've got further things to look at here. Let's continue on. Now, this is Reuters talking about some silver squeeze behavior, silver demand. So let me read you this piece here. This is from Reuters, and this is just to prove it's not just Twitter reporting this. It's not just the forums or other threads. This is a news article, news outlet. So bear with me. A retail investment frenzy in silver driven by social media has left dealers from the United States to Singapore scrambling for bars and coins to meet demand. Silver prices extended their rally on Monday to an 8-year high as small investors answered calls on social media last week to buy the metal to push up prices. They're mentioning us. They're mentioning calls on social media last week to buy the metal and push prices up. Retail investors cannot directly access the wholesale silver market, so instead, they have bought into bars and coins. There are massive shortages. We'll be completely out of stock if it carries on like this, the first time since our company opened in Singapore 7 years ago, quoted David Mitchell, managing director at Indigo Precious Metals. Some customers sold gold to buy silver, said Gregor Gregerson, founder of Silver Bullion Pte. Limited, another dealer in Singapore. That's the first I've heard of that. That's actually impressive. I can't believe that's not getting more news. It's significant. I'm going to read it again. Quote, some customers have sold gold to buy silver, said Gregor Gregerson, founder of Silver Bullion Pte. Limited, another silver dealer or gold dealer, it just says dealer, in Singapore. There's a definite shortage of popular silver coins developing, especially North American coins, he said. However, we're still able to source 1,000-ounce good delivery bars at nearly the same premiums for now. That's over in Singapore. We've heard of other difficulties in acquiring these COMEX bars more locally and even personally. You know, we've got people on this channel, members of this very channel, that have had difficult times sourcing silver COMEX good delivery bars. But it sounds like these guys over in Singapore, whenever this article was produced, have still had access or the ability to get them. I've seen premiums go up. I know premiums on COMEX bars have gone up significantly. They've gone up to what? I think 130 to 175, 180 in that range, which that's pretty significant when you look at the past where COMEX bars were about 30 cents, 35 cents over spot. U.S. bullion broker APMEX warned of delays in processing silver transactions because of surging volumes. Other U.S. dealers, including JM Bullion and SD Bullion, warned customers of shipping delays of 5 to 10 days. Everett Millman at Gainesville Coins in Florida said they were expecting shipping delays, perhaps until mid-March for some products like Silver Eagles and Silver Maples. Now, this is a rapid spike in demand. As tightened supplies, there is plenty of metal around, and delays should ease once metal can be shipped to where it's needed, dealers and industry experts claim. Again, this article was from early March. I'm taking it by the dates that they're mentioning in there now. Kevin Rich, global gold market advisor for Australia's Perth Mint, said that whilst dealers of coins and bars might see some supply constraints and therefore charge higher premiums on these products, the Mint does not anticipate any such issues. There is enough airline traffic to ensure supply can move around, he said, unlike last year when the lack of freight capacity disrupted gold markets. In the short term, stocks may run out, since it takes a long time for sea shipping, but overall supply is ample, said Peter Fung, head of dealing at the Hong Kong-based Wing Fung Precious Metals. Around 1 billion ounces of silver are produced and consumed each year, and supply has been in surplus for most of the last decade, Consultants Metals Focus said. However, as you know, there's a gentleman named Bix Weir who's also been reporting on the silver for quite a long time, came from a banking background, and he's also stating that things are not right. And he's been talking about the breakdown with the Perth Mint and how reporting a lot on the news that we just covered recently, more recently than that article that just came out on how the Perth Mint is actually short on silver and canceling orders. And here they were earlier in the month when the height of the silver squeeze movement was really taking off, that there wasn't going to be a problem. They weren't going to have a supply problem. And it's looking to be not that way anymore. It looks like the Perth Mint is indeed running into problems. So not only is it the Perth Mint having problems from what I've seen, And again, I would encourage you to check out the article we just covered earlier this week on unallocated to allocated. Just a lot of information on there on the shortage of silver that's taking place. And again, problems in the Perth Mint, problems at the Mexican Mint, United States Mint, the Royal Mint. It's not just, I mean, you're seeing articles sometimes on different days of the week mentioning a specific mint, being focused in on one particular mint. I think the problem is much bigger than that. And the fact that GATA is picking up articles like this and discussing these topics, it's worth looking at this in this way. Don't look at it individually. Don't consider it as like, okay, it's just isolated to the Mexican Mint. I saw one article on that. I saw one video on that. Junius talked about it or mentioned it. No. I think it's much more big. It's much bigger than what we're looking at here. It's system wide. It's the entire silver market. It's the production of all silver from the mine level to the final product at the mint level. I mean, look at this. This is an example of the entire planet, really. I don't have anything here as far as pandas. I really don't care about them. They don't do anything for me. Not a coin I care for. But I mean, here we have the Mexican Mint again, the Perth Mint, the United States Mint, the Royal Mint. Some of the biggest producers of silver in the world, especially silver bullion, and all of them having significant problems simultaneously. I think this will have rippling ramifications for the silver price. I think that as demand continues, as we see an increase in demand, this movement's not dying down. This movement's not relaxing. It's only just begun. We've only just started. We've only just started. And we're going to raid again. As many of you keep asking and begging for raids, I get it. I understand the desire to raid, but we got to take, sometimes we need to recoup our costs or breathe a little bit. We'll raid again, I promise. It's coming up April 9th. That's 4/9 for those of you that keep asking. April 9th, 2021. We will be raiding for more silver very soon. Mrs. Maltby is working diligently. Okay, you got to give her a break. She's been a little sick, a little under the weather. As you know, she had the COVID. So Mrs. Maltby, as frail and weak and sick as she always is, she is fighting through that right now. So while she's battling COVID, the very little beautiful woman who's fighting COVID and still struggling to produce content with me, and also she's also producing artwork for you guys. Just last night, you know what she was doing? She was putting content together, managing stuff for you guys, and designing artwork, and doing a lot of that behind the scenes stuff. I mean, she does all the stuff that art, design, you name it. If it's not me doing a video like this, it's pretty much something's being done by Mrs. Maltby, sometimes simultaneously. Now, she didn't skip a beat. I'm not even kidding you. I mean, she's been under the weather, but she's so crazy how hard she's working. And she's even at work right now. She's at her day job, her real job. You know, as you know, she works from home. And Mrs. Maltby hasn't skipped a beat. She's been clocking in. She's been working. And, yeah, she's got all this. She's got it, you know, confirmed, has it now and everything. And she didn't have to do we checked all the boxes. We even talked to some local healthcare professionals. No doubt, no question. Based on her symptomology, her fevers, and everything else, 100% has it. She's taking the vitamins. She's doing great. So I don't think that's it. Again, I don't think the vid shut down the Mexican Mint. I think it's economic. You really think all these miners, these tough guys that work in mines, the guys that produce all of this content, this material, the ore, the refineries, the mints, all of it, the whole step of the process, every step of the way, the trucks, you really think they were that weak that they succumbed and they stopped? Nah. Mrs. Maltby kicked its ass. Exactly. That's how it is. And she's working hard. There's something bigger going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. Repo market breaks down. Virus scare sweeps the world. They shut and cripple the entire world economy. Currencies go to heck. They go to trash, right? They start having problems. The markets are collapsing around the world. Massive stimulus is required, the most ever, beyond that of even World War II. they start producing all of this extra fiat, expanding the money supply, M1, M2, M3, going through the roof. Inflation being predicted on all fronts. Everyone talking about inflation. The bond market off the rails. The bond rates going, the yields going through the roof. People talking about yield curve control, speculation, market hubris, just insanity. Meanwhile, supply has been disrupted. We're looking at peak silver 2032. We're looking at all of the different factors that I've relayed to you guys with the production costs of silver. And what happens? What do? They start making excuses. Oh, we can't produce the coins because of a cough, because of a flu. Ladies and gentlemen, the world of currencies, the economies are on the knife's edge, as Michael Burry has said. The economy is dancing on a knife's edge. This is coming from someone far more brilliant than I. Now, I know we have people out there claiming, it's funny, these people that claim that, the same people that claim we're not going to have an effect on the silver market, that it's stupid or it's silly. It's, quote, silly or childish to participate in the silver squeeze, that it's undue pressure, or it's creating pressure upon people to engage in silver raids and discouraging that type of activity. It's interesting to me. You know, against the backdrop of the massive geopolitical tensions and risks, which also will disrupt supply, oil production, and the global economy, but it's also exacerbating the problems. We've got sanctions against Russia, but yet we have an addiction to Russian oil. We have expanding debt loads. We have deteriorating conditions in the entire economy being propped up by massive debt and artificially suppressed interest rates, which how long can they do that? Inflation is soon to rear its ugly head. The economy is having a problem. Many of you see it, many of you know it. We discuss this at length. Question is, where's it going to end up? Where's it going to end up? And why? Why the smoke and mirrors game with precious metals? Now, do you believe in paper or do you believe in the physical? That's what I'm going to leave you guys with before I turn this off here in a moment. There is a problem on the physical side. How many of you have finally disconnected the paper price from the physical price? Do we need to keep working on that with all of you? Do you still believe, when you look at this, what do you see? Do you see an ounce of silver, a store of labor for 1 to 10 days worth of work? Or do you see $26 per ounce? Is that what you see? Because if you see $26 an ounce when you see this, I can't help you. This is an ounce of silver, and I wouldn't sell it to you for $50 an ounce. So what does that tell you? Go ahead, offer me $50 for one of these ounces. I won't get it. It wouldn't happen. 60, wouldn't do it. 70, wouldn't do it. 80, nope. Sorry. I converted my Fiat, one-way street. Fiat's not going back. I'm not converting this into Fiat. It's a one-way street. You don't convert this back into trash notes, into monopoly coupon paper. That's the problem. People are taking this stuff off the market and they're not going to convert it back again. It's happening. It's a race. This is a run. We're witnessing a slow and silent stampede for the exits, a slow stampede for metal. Thank you, Rick Enfed, for the super chat. Thank you, Jack C, as well, for the super chat. Are big companies buying mines? I don't know. And I can't see all your comments because there's a bar across the screen of the live recording device on the phone. Oh, are big companies buying mines so we can't buy? That I don't know. I don't know how deep the conspiracy goes with that kind of stuff. I can't imagine. Again, I never doubt anything, as what lengths they would go to keep up the charade, to keep up the schemes and the theft of wealth and labor. So there's no idea. I have no idea what extent they're going through. I wouldn't doubt if there are mines hoarding, refusing to sell because of the values. I mean, think about it. If you're a big mine and you're sitting on thousands of ounces of Dior bars, silver that you've produced and worked for, and you know the price is suppressed, why would you sell it? Especially if you can afford to keep it. Remember, mines, a lot of the mines, this is no exaggeration. From what I understand, bear with me here. something like 80%, 80% I think, of the silver produced is a consequence of mining things like copper, zinc, tin, other metals, even gold. And they don't need to sell their silver to cover their costs. It only represents a very small percentage of their company profits because their entire mission and purpose, most of the profits for those mines comes from the production of these other metals. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to skip out on earning money or profits if they can on silver. So why would a company, if they're sitting on thousands of ounces of silver, unload it if they didn't have to, and if they knew the price was suppressed because they know the market? They know that the price of silver is likely below that what it should be. So my guess is that the mines very likely are holding and not selling until the price goes up. I think the world is awakening to an era in which silver will find its real price discovery. I think people are sick of it. I think the entire economy, the subconscious mind of all people that know anything about sound money and fiat and economic policy and history of economics and money, the flow of money, the value of gold and silver, what it truly is, its intrinsic value. I think it's finding equilibrium. It's seeking that balance. And I think price discovery will occur. It's just the way economies work. Economics, that's the way economics works. The truth will come out. It will be discovered eventually. It's irrefutable. So as we move in that direction, silver eventually will find itself at greater valuations as determined in fiat. So just keep your eyes on that, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your eyes on silver. Keep your eyes on the news. I will continue to produce the content I can, as much as I can, to keep us abreast of what's going on with this present situation, because I think it truly is remarkable. We're at a particular timeline where anything can happen. Any headline can happen. I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow. You turn on the news and flashing headlines: U.S. Mint ceases production of silver. Who knows? Strategic silver supply is depleted. I mean, who knows what's going to happen. But you're in a good position. Keep stacking. Keep doing what you're doing. Remember, it's not just Mexico. It's not just Mexico that's out of silver. It's the Perth Mint, it's the U.S. Mint, it's the Royal Mint. They're all struggling. They're all having problems. They're all struggling. So that's my take on that. Hope I answered your question. I am glad that we were all here together. Thanks for tuning in, all 230 of you. Please, if you can, hit the like button while you're here. I know there's 230 of you watching. There's only 89 likes. So if you could hit the like, that lets the Google algorithms and analytics know that at least you enjoyed the content. Hit the likes for me and hit the share. If you can, post this in Wall Street Silver. Post it in a Reddit forum or a thread somewhere discussing silver. Share the videos that are in this channel, the playlists. There's a bunch of them. Go check out the video just recently. I'll try to put a link down in the description for the unallocated to allocated silver discussion I had just recently to really paint a picture of what's going on, the availability of silver, what's taking place. There are some significant disruptions. The silver squeeze is working. Think of it this way. We're literally impacting the largest mints in the world. Think of that for a moment. The biggest producers of silver, the biggest mints, are having issues. They are noticing you. Your actions are not unseen. You are having an effect. You are having an impact. Every ounce we buy is 1 ounce less to be manipulated. It doesn't even matter if it's, constitutional silver. Every single ounce of silver that even if it's an old one, a 1986 piece, every piece of silver that you're pulling off the market is less silver available, less supply. So yes, as Rick Goffman says, can they hear us now? I think they can. I think they can hear us. I think they're going to continue to hear us because we are shutting down mints. We're taking silver off the market ounce by ounce, gram by gram. So thank you all for tuning in to the Junius Maltby channel. I appreciate each and every one of you being here as part of this channel community. Thank you for your support, all of you. And if you could, hit that like again on your way out. And I will see you on the next one. I do have an interview to get to later on this day. So I'm going to be discussing some things about silver, about this channel. And wishing you all the best. Thank you for tuning in once again. Be well.